You are listening to The Mismatch, presented by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook has made it easier than ever to get in on the action during an NBA playoff game, even after tip-off. Just look for the live SGP tab on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and build your bet slip. Then sit back, relax, and track the outcome of your parlay right in the app. And if you don't already have it, download the FanDuel app today to make every moment more. The Ringer is committed to responsible gambling. Please visit rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available, and listen to the end of the episode for additional details. You must be 21 and present in select states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Welcome to The Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
Verno, we're starting with tonight's game, right?
Yes, Oklahoma City just won 118-103 in Game 2 over the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I think you are going to be surprised at what I have to say.
Really? Are we going to celebrate the Thunder?
I think that was the most impressed I have been with them the entire playoffs. And I don't feel like most people will feel that way. That is a Minnesota team whose your backs are against the wall. If you drop game one, you need to. I know everybody could do the whole series doesn't start until you lose it home.
I hate that.
Okay. Here's what you know. You're playing against a 68-win team that's mangled its first two opponents during the playoffs, okay? Not mangled the Nuggets. Okay, they went to 7 with the Nuggets. Okay, fine, that's fine.
Yeah, they mangled your Grizzlies. Yeah. And even that was a little sketchy, to be honest with you.
But they have had big wins at home. Even against the Nuggets, you had some big monster wins sprinkled in there, right? Understand they would be more susceptible on the road. That being said, you are in a position where, yes, you have not played a home game yet, but if you drop the first two, you put yourself in a position where you have to win 4 out of the next 5 games against a team that won 68 games and then mangled its first-round opponent and then took care of business with its second-round opponent, though it went 7 games, obviously were spectacular in the home games throughout that series, okay? And so you are in a really bad way. So, first of all, psychologically, you think you're getting a home run effort. You also think you are going to be making adjustments for Game 2 that will make things much easier for you. And the reason I say I was probably most impressed tonight is because I just watched a team search for 48 minutes. Theoretically, you've watched the tape from game number 1. You played them 4 times during the season. You saw a team search for 48 minutes and find very few answers. You can say they found answers in the fourth quarter, but at that point, Oklahoma City had totally taken their foot off the gas. They were running away from them. They're up 24 going into the fourth, okay? And so you're benching one of your best players in Julius Randle. You can't do anything with DiVincenzo. He was rendered virtually unplayable. So now you're down to 7 guys that you might trust. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's the only one that's really stepped up because Naz Reid, the first shot he makes will be the first shot he makes. And like I said, Gobert's been rendered useless. And then you've rendered Julius Randle useless. And so to me, it was watching how it all unfolded for Minnesota tonight that made me most impressed maybe with Oklahoma City, because I'm watching a team search for 48 minutes with no answers. Meanwhile, all 3 of the best players on Oklahoma City, all 3 of them were great simultaneously. And
you're getting Chet great?
Chet Holmgren had 22 points, ended up 4 rebounds, The 2 assists.
I'll say this about the game.
He was
that
impactful.
I just watched. This is that first half. I felt like everything broke Minnesota's way. The Thunder couldn't hit a 3. They didn't turn the ball over, and they had Jalen McDaniels knocking down corner 3 after corner 3. They were hitting their shots, and it just felt like everything. If you were to write down adjustments they needed to make from game 1 to game 2, they made them, and they're still down. And they're still losing the game.
The end of the first half was an absolute debacle.
I thought the Dante foul was just a huge mistake. It's one play, it's one possession, but that was a huge mistake.
You've got that game. That game's at 3. That's what the number's on right then. Gilgeous-Alexander hits a step back 3. So now you're at 6.
Not his game. He's not that guy.
But now you're at 6, okay? The worst thing that can happen is you're down 6. You're probably
10 seconds left.
Going to get
Shot
a bucket.
off.
You've been able to get buckets, so you're probably going into halftime down 3 or 4. Okay? If you can get a bucket on your last possession. And DiVincenzo
shot clock is off.
Yeah. DiVincenzo throws the illegal screen on Dort.
It was a bad one, too. Uses his arms on the screen. Usually they lean in with a shoulder, but he extends his arms. It was weird.
Oklahoma City goes from, and now they convert. So now it's 3-8 in the span of, and there's absolutely no reason for it to be. And then, of course, they just ran roughshod over them in that third quarter. I just thought when you're talking about Gilgeous-Alexander, who was awarded MVP before this game and how great he was, and then Williams, and then Chet, they only played 7, really. They didn't go very deep into their bench in this one. It was like Dagnall was playing this as a must-win, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go to their 9. They didn't go to their 10 guys for like real minutes. They played 7. They had Wallace played 27 minutes. Caruso played 24 minutes.
I didn't see Jay Will. I didn't see him out there.
He didn't play at all. And look, how about this? Wallace played 27 minutes. Caruso, 24 minutes. Wiggins played 9 entirely forgettable minutes.
I was about to say, I think it's all in the first half.
Isaiah Joe played 3, and Kendrick Williams came in for 1 minute. And that was it. So they played 7 guys for all intents and purposes in this game. And to great result. And I just thought the way it felt like Minnesota had no answers. It's like, do we play Gobert? Do we not play Gobert? And then he just abandoned Randle. I think he was just, Randle had, I told you.
I know.
Stick to your guns. There's going to come a time.
I backed off the take.
Because he was like, he had gone all the way up in the second banana rankings. And then he showed his head tonight, 2 for 11, had 4 turnovers and 2 made field goals. And I don't know if it was the last time he played, but I can imagine it was the one where he caught it low and then threw his shoulder down in, and you've got like a flop / bump with whatever. And then he just runs down the court like smiling ear to ear.
Yeah,
and they're getting their ass kicked. And I'm like, okay, you may not get to play anymore.
I've seen my share of Randle stinkers in the playoffs. This was probably the worst, honestly.
This
is probably
abysmal.
The worst. I've seen some stinkers, and this was really bad. And there are certain players that you just like, and I think I'm not alone in this, and there's certain players that you don't. Everybody likes Naz Reid. Everybody likes Naz Reid.
Everybody likes Naz Reid.
He's just got this Q score that is so high, and no one can explain why. He's like a 7-footer that just like crosses over and pulls up, and sometimes he looks like the best player in the world. And he's just disappeared.
Make a shot, bro. Make a shot.
Disappeared the last 2 games. I thought he would bounce back in game 2.
What it felt like, and I texted you in the first half, I'm like, bro, they are and maybe what we're going to find out is they always say role players play better at home. Maybe they're going to go back to Minnesota, and all of a sudden Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid are making open threes because they are generating open threes for them, and they can't make them.
I will say this, just to say, I don't think this series is over. Obviously, I think the Thunder will win. They won the first 2 games handily.
Sure.
But they were hanging around. You know what I mean? It wasn't like...
Until the third.
they were hanging around. Even in the fourth, they got it down to like 9. And after what we all went through the previous night,
right?
Who knows what can happen? But they're hanging around, and they have Edwards. And when you have a guy like Edwards, you always have a chance. You have a puncher's chance when you have Anthony Edwards, who I thought played well tonight. I really did.
Well,
I thought he
here's
played
the
well
thing.
tonight.
He was mega aggressive. He had gotten fined for the post-game comments after the first game where he said, I've got to take more effing shots because he only had 13 field goal attempts in game number 1. So you could tell right off the bat he was going to be much more aggressive. He doubled. Yeah. But he was
1
only
for 9 from 3 is tough, dude.
Rough.
Tough.
And look, the others beyond him, he's gaining so much attention that the others have to be able to step up. And there are so many possessions where it's like he generates it collapses, you kick out, wide open three. It's a make or miss league, dude. I mean, you've got the guy that's getting the attention.
You've got guys that shoot 40% in the regular season. Knock it down, Dante. Knock it down, Naz Reid. Like, the reason you're Naz Reid is because you shoot 40%. Right. So knock down 40% of your threes.
Well, and
please.
The only one of the others that really showed up, look. McDaniels did, for sure, but I was going to mention Alexander Walker, right? Like we talk about they've got 8 solid guys. Well, if Reid and DiVincenzo...
Two-way guys.
If Reid and DiVincenzo aren't helping me, at least me one. And Alexander Walker obviously played. He played well tonight. The crazy thing is, looking at these box scores, one of my favorite, not only basketball players, but people in the world is Mike Conley. So I have a rooting interest in him, right? I always want him to do well.
I got some texts about Mike Conley, and I was like, you just love Mike Conley.
Okay, here's what I'll tell you.
He's not swinging this series, Vernon.
I didn't tell you they're swinging. I just don't understand. They can't do anything without it. It reminds me of the Rockets without Van Vliet when we went through that month that we were talking about it. And it's like this rudderless ship. And it's like, why can't you run offense? Why? They lost the first game of this series by 26 points, Jacoby. Mike Conley was a +5. Explain it to me. They lost tonight by 15, and Mike Conley was a +14 in 28 minutes.
But in those Mike Conley minutes, is he that effective? Is he doing that much? Is he even assisting or scoring? Defending or rebounding or doing anything?
To act like he's not involved, of course, he's the point guard of the team, and he's obviously a guy that has to be honored, at least, has to be guarded. Then they got a problem with guys that don't need to be guarded. Rudy Gobert runs 30 feet away from the basket and sets that stupid screen, and nobody cares.
Looks at him. No one looks at him.
Cool. Nice screen, bro. Because nobody gets hung up on the screen, so they just fight through it. And then it's like, where are you going? What are we going to do? Short roll to you so you can pirouette or so you can chuck it against the backboard? He sucks. And all these nerds used it as a field day when he had the huge game against the Lakers. And they don't say shit when this happens. They don't say anything. You've watched it for 2 games. This guy can't do anything. What can he do? What is he doing? Do you remember the Rudy Gobert block shot you've seen so far? Because I don't. Has he blocked a shot? When was the swat that you remember?
What about the big rebound?
I remember which one?
I can't think of it.
Come on.
But they didn't play him in the fourth quarter. They didn't play. Here's my thing, though. I do feel like Minnesota, this is not over to me. You've got Randle, stinker. Naz Reid, 2 just stinkers. Like, I just can't see this continue.
Bro, look, and
you've got Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards it's been really interesting to see what's happened with Edwards is this year, his new thing was, I can shoot threes now. I make the most threes. I take the most threes. This is my new weapon that I'm going to use. And it does feel like in these 2 games, And even in some of the previous series, he's learned, do you know what else I can do? Take it to the basket and no one can stop me. There are some possessions where it's just like, I'm a better athlete and better scorer than anything you can put in front of me. Best defense in the NBA. And I think that when you have that, you have a chance. And I think it'll be much more competitive in 3 and 4.
I will say that Kendrick Perkins, I'm going to give him credit. I know he gets himself in hot water about a lot of things, but I believe it was him right before the game was about to start, and they were having this discussion, and Michael Malone was there, and Bob Myers and Stephen A. and Malika Andrews and Kendrick Perkins, and he always calls him Gobert. He said, I think they need to play Gobert and Randle less together. That's what I think Finch should do. He goes, you've got to give the guy driving lanes. And, man, there are so many times where you're watching and you're going, where is the driving lane coming from? Because these guys are not honored away. They're not spacing the floor, right? And when you ask me about what is Mike Conley doing, is he impactful? You have to have guys that create space. You have to have guys that create space. And the only way you can create space is by being away from the basket and being able to pull a defender away from the basket.
And knocking down your shots. And when you're Naz Reid and you're not knocking down your shots, you're Dante DiVincenzo, you're not knocking down your shots, you don't create space.
Right. And therefore, and you also have, and I think that's why you saw a little less of, Randle and Gobert, and it's hard to play those guys together because now we're just boxes and elbows. Right, we're just boxes and elbows, and it's like, fine. We'll close out. We'll close out late and try to spook you when you're trying to shoot one of these threes or whatever. But we'll give you some open threes. But what you're not going to do is make hay in the paint. And Anthony Edwards, you get no driving lanes, none. Like you're going to have to. You've got to sift through everybody to try to get this.
I thought they over relied on the zone in the first half as well. I thought it's so funny, what
is Gobert's purpose in that too? Or why is Chet Holmgren can hit 100 out of 100 6-footers? 100 out of 100, and so can Caruso. It's like, we went to the middle of the zone. Like,
I was about to say this. Like, anyone who listens to this podcast played like 5th grade basketball at the lowest level possible, and everyone will tell you where's the soft spot in the zone, right in the middle, and they just eat from passing the ball to the middle. And Isaiah Hartenstein, he actually missed a bunch of those stupid floaters, but he hit a couple too, and then he gets it, collapsed the zone, kick to the baseline, the quote unquote dunker spot, and then you've got Caruso hitting a little 6-footer, Chet hitting a little 6-footer. I understand the zone. But the zone is like it's a switch up. It's like it can't be your go-to. And it's just too easy to break down. Too easy.
I know you're saying that, and look, I fully expect Minnesota's not going to lay down. They should be able to win a game. Maybe they could win 2 in Minnesota. It's the big picture thing that I'm talking about, which is winning 4 out of 5. Against that team. And more importantly, it was the scramble mode that they were in game 2. Now, maybe, just maybe, Chris Finch will have a revelation and say, you know what, we were able to figure some stuff out, and here's how we want to attack this, and here's how we want to attack this, and it took us 2 games, but I think we kind of found something because we got our ass kicked. We were down 24. We cut it to 10, and more of what cut it to 10 and less of what got it to 24 is what we need to do, and we did find something. But when you came in a game 2 after you theoretically made your adjustments after getting your ass kicked in 1, when you get your ass kicked in 1, you can't turn around and be getting your ass kicked in 2. That's what I'm saying. And they were down 24 before they took their foot off the gas, or before they were up 24 before they took their foot off the gas, and they couldn't do anything with Gilgeous-Alexander. Killed them.
It's worth mentioning that, like, I thought that he looked like the MVP tonight, and I also felt that. Remember Game 6, J-Dub? He was terrible. It was like you're not winning this series. You're not winning the Western Conference when your second banana plays like that. And I thought he played great tonight.
And this may be
efficient.
This may be what we find. This may be what we find. And I think it might have been a true fool's errand for them to not have done it sooner. You saw when they were cutting into that lead, and again, I am one that's saying that team took the foot off the gas.
They did.
The run two at Gilgeous-Alexander and live with the result of the rest is your chance. Like they had too much ego thinking they can guard this guy straight up.
Well,
too much.
It's
they ran two at him to get the ball out of his hands, and now let's scramble. And if
J.
Lou
Dub
Dort
played
makes,
great.
I got it. But if Lou Dort makes threes, and if Chet does this and whatever, but it was best of both worlds for OKC tonight. Gilgeous-Alexander and one of these things can't be true. Either Gilgeous-Alexander has 38 and you've done well on the other guys, or you've shut down Gilgeous-Alexander and the other guys have eaten, right? But what you can't have is all of them. That's why I told you this is maybe the most impressive to me, because all those guys ate. All of them. Who wasn't good for the Thunder? Who wasn't good?
It's a happy locker room. It's a happy locker room right now.
Who was? They all have
happy
Rolexes.
locker room.
The guy got the MVP, and they all have Rolexes.
Yeah. And those Canada Goose jackets are expensive too. But I'd say that when you've got SGA 12 for 21 and J-Dub 12 for 20, like you're not going to beat that efficiency. You're not going to beat that efficiency. And the foul stuff with SGA, like I'm kind of tired of hearing about it. It's like, yeah, man, stop putting your hands on him. He's going to take advantage of it.
All right, no, all right.
Stop putting your hands on him. You're putting your hands on him.
This has become a cottage industry. So don't make me mad at you two. This new cottage industry of, you know what? Actually, he's not a foul merchant. And
no, he's a foul merchant. And so is Jalen Brunson.
Actually, he's not a foul merchant.
Oh, no, he is.
He leads the league in drives and blah,
no,
blah, blah,
but
blah.
No. I'm not saying
watching
that.
on TV.
No, but what I'm not saying that is, as you mentioned, you guys watched the tape of game one.
Yeah.
Change the way you play defense against him.
Here's what I will say.
He is a foul merchant, but understand that when he is driving towards you.
He leads the league in drives. He does this. He does that. And that's become the thing. It's now become like the counterpoint.
The zag.
Is now.
I get it.
I get it. That's the most popular thing. As if I'm not watching this on TV. Look, let me explain for all the nerds out there that want to be counterpoint guy. He actually leads the league in drives, and actually he doesn't go to the line as many of his peers. And shut up. Look, we're watching it. When the object of the play is to get fouled. That's what we're talking about. That is a foul merchant. I don't give a shit how many free throws he takes. I don't care about all the, how many drives he has. We're watching basketball. If the intention of my play is to get fouled and then I just throw the ball up at the rim.
Maybe get the bucket
right.
in, yeah.
Like, bro,
Luka does it, Brunson does it, SGA does it.
And it drives me crazy. And think about if me and you were, think about it like this. You talk about basketball. Me and you, we're going to play one-on-one in my backyard. You've got an advantage, obviously.
I would never play one-on-one against you. Yeah, I would never play one-on-one.
You've got an advantage. But if I just kept taking the ball at you and then pump faking you getting in the air and then waiting and then throwing it up and then I just say foul, check up. At some point, you're like, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's not even like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Yeah, that's exactly what you'd say to me. Why are you doing this? And I would say, what? Foul. You're just trying to get you off your game. Like, it's like, okay, I got it. Hey, I got it. It's effective, but it's also mega annoying.
We'll be out there for 20 minutes. It'll be 0-0.
It's mega annoying. You know what I mean? Like, the point of the play is to score, not for you to foul me.
Do you see McDaniels just push him over?
He got so sick of it.
McDaniels just like, because it was, and SGA did, I don't know why we're using the term hook or whatever, but he grabbed him and tried to draw a foul, and then McDaniels just got tired of it.
That's why I tell
They're
you.
They're losing by 13, and he just two-hand pushed him to the ground like, fuck you. That's what he said with his arms. He's just like, fuck you. I'm tired of this. Then I would have done the same thing.
This is why
Sorry, children.
I started this by saying this was the most impressive of the games to me. No, they broke them. They broke them. Randall's over there with a friggin' towel on his head.
Smiling.
Chris Finch is trying literally any lineup he can find. DiVincenzo's unplayable. Gobert's unplayable. Randle's unplayable. It's like, bro, you don't have any other players. You better dust off Terrence Shannon or somebody.
Yeah,
and I'm
Shannon.
like, and McDaniels, who's out there, he's pushing he's pushing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to the ground because he's so frustrated with the whole thing.
And he took the flagrant. That was not like let's review it, let's take a look at it. Was it excessive?
Yes.
He pushed him to the ground because he was mad.
Nasri bricks literally every wide open three he takes.
It's crazy.
And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, and the other team, they're just plug it away. And all three of their, Gilgeous-Alexander 38, J. Will 26, Chet 22. It's like, I mean, that is one team has got literally three of its major players sitting on the bench with towels on their head and a coach being like, just keep taking it to the basket. No. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker's like out there playing 1-on-5. Well, and I'm like, okay, all right. You're in a world of shit.
It's tough. I mean, that being said, they were still in it, man.
They were not in it.
They were still in it.
No, you are in it. Hey, look, everybody was absolutely traumatized by the events of last evening. That is how you hold on to the lead. You let it get to 10, and then you bust it back up. That's how that happens. You don't let it go from 10 to 4 to 3 to 1 to...
I just don't understand not playing Gobert in the fourth yesterday and then not playing Randle in the fourth today. Like, it just go down swinging. Go down with your guys. Like, just benching Randle in the fourth, like, I was pretty surprised by that, to be honest with you. He's been so good this postseason. You're just going to decide, he doesn't have it tonight, so not even going to put him out there?
He was 2 for 11. 2 for 11.
I should have stuck to that take.
I told you. I tried to tell you.
You did. You tried to walk me off of that.
I tried to tell you.
You did.
I said,
I got to give it to you.
I said, just stick with it. You never know.
I do stick to takes. But that
never know.
He's been playing so well. He had like 7 assists in games. I've never seen him have 1 assist with the Knicks. Not a single assist his whole career.
And here's the big thing. When we talked about going into this series, I said, we talked about the Greg Popovich thing, and I said, forget about threes, even though threes would be a good indicator too, because the stupid Wolves can't make a three to save their life. They're 28% in this game. I mean,
Thunder couldn't either.
I got it, but I mean, they shoot such a high volume. They shot 51. They have shot 93s, and they're shooting like friggin' 20%. All right.
How'd that work out for the Celtics?
And I said the points off turnovers thing. So far,
they limited the turnovers.
I got it. But still, Jacoby, they score off all of them.
I know.
And through 2 games, Oklahoma City has 53 points off turnovers. 53.
Do you remember? I think it's I want to say it's Randall's posting up I think it's like Caruso or Wallace, and whoever's trying to throw the inbound pass, it's like you cannot just lob it over the top against this team. Like, what are you thinking? The passes need to be lasers. And they need to be decisive. You can't just lob it over the top of somebody and then Dort just smashes the ball out of his hands the second he touches it.
How about when
you can't do that? Like, what are you doing?
How about the Nas Reed cross quarter straight to Caruso?
What are you doing?
When it was like a 10-point game at the end, it's like, what are you doing?
Have you seen them? Watched game 1? Yeah. It's like this team is fast and they get in passing lanes. I don't know if you've seen the last 92 games that they played.
Well, and that is when we talk about the whole Conley thing, the turnovers are low when he's out there. That's what I tell you.
Verno, I understand he played for the Grizzlies. And I understand that you might have a personal relationship with this man. But Mike Conley's not swinging this series. If they weren't like a Mike Conley away from winning these 2 games, okay?
You explain to me how you get your ass kicked in 2 games but have a starter who's in the positives. How? How does that happen? You think it's random? Everybody else is in the negatives. All of them. All of them. All of them. I'm saying because he can dribble, I'm not telling you he's individually making a massive difference.
He's not.
No, with your counting stats. What I am telling you is his presence is making a difference because he can dribble, because he can move the ball, and because he doesn't turn it over.
Who's he cover?
They hide him. They constantly hide him.
But all right. I mean, you put him on Caruso or whatever, put him in that stupid zone. The NBA playoffs are finally here, and there's no better way to be a part of the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. After another competitive season, the top teams are ready to battle their way through the playoff bracket in hopes of taking home the championship. And we are at the end. It is the conference finals, and it could not be better. If you think you know how it's going to go down, then make those predictions pay off with FanDuel and NBA profit boosts. Simply make your bet, activate your profit boost, and go for even bigger winnings. I have my eye on Game 2 in MSG. Game 1 was one of the most impactful, emotional, disturbing, memorable moments of my life, and anyone who saw it can't wait for Game 2. How will the Knicks respond? Can Tyrese Haliburton do this again? Is Nesmith the greatest shooter in the history of the NBA? Who knows? We will find out on Friday night, but I believe in the New York Knickerbockers. I think they're going to walk away with this one easily in Game 2. The rest of the series, I have no idea, but I feel like Game 2 is the Knicks to lose. That's where I will be putting my money on FanDuel. But you, don't just be a spectator this postseason. Head to FanDuel.com/mismatch to download America's #1 sportsbook and make every moment more. Remember, you must be 21 and present in select states, or you must be 18 and present in D.C. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Can we talk about the Knicks?
I mean, yes. You text me and you said that you were glad we did not do the show last night because now you have had time to digest it all. And that you feel differently now than you did at the time. And I cannot wait to hear this baloney.
One of my first, most impactful sports memories, I grew up in Amherst, Massachusetts, and I was a Red Sox fan. Still a Red Sox fan, even though I'm not a Celtics fan anymore. Is I loved Bill Buckner. I had a poster of Bill Buckner on my wall from the 1986 World Series. And in Game 6, we all know what happened. The ball goes through his legs. And he was my guy. Like, he was wearing high-top cleats. He had a hurt ankle. I just loved the guy. I just loved him. And the ball went through his legs. And it was just so – and people think that was Game 7. That was Game 6. There's still another game after it. And it was just like – it's one of those things that makes you love sports. And after the game yesterday, I was so disgusted. I was so damaged emotionally. I was hurt. I just wanted to kick a trash can. I didn't even want to go home. And
you wanted to go sit with the rats outside.
Yes. I just wanted to let the rats just crawl over me. Like Willard. No one knows that movie. And I rewatched it this morning. Honestly, it's like, that's why I love sports. Games like that. No, I'm serious. Games like that are why I love sports.
Then you really are. You have always termed yourself as a die-easy Knicks fan.
I'm a die-easy Knicks fan.
But this is disgusting.
That I love hating Haliburton. I love the choke gesture. I love the replay. I love that it was two instead of three. I love that it went to overtime. I love everything about it. I love that game. It made me feel something. You just want to, if you're on this planet, you just want to be stirred emotionally by something.
Okay.
And games like tonight, it's like, whatever. I didn't remember. Do you remember March in the regular season? Like, you don't feel anything when you watch the games. I felt so much. I wanted to cry last night. I never watch games at bars, but we had a rec league game at 8:00, and I was like, all right, we'll go to a bar afterwards and watch it. The other team didn't even show up because the Knicks were playing. So we put our uniforms on. I put my stupid shoes on. We were warming up. We're looking at the other side of the court, like, where are these guys? They didn't even show up. So I'm at a bar watching with other people.
Because they're actually real fans.
Yeah, and we're at a bar watching with other people, and the up and down of it all, and just how tense it was, and how emotional it has been. And rewatching it this morning, I was like, honestly, because you always say comeback or collapse. That was a comeback. The Knicks were getting buckets down the stretch. Like, remember game 1 and game 2 of the Celtics? The Celtics just completely collapsed. The Knicks were getting baskets. They just weren't covering this guy, Aaron Nesmith, who hit 6 threes in a row. I loved the experience. I'm happy it happened.
Okay. Your Knicks fandom is completely revoked.
That's fine. Take it.
Yeah. Just don't even call yourself. Like,
take it.
Because there's then you're not a real fan, bro.
I'm not.
Okay. Because
I like basketball.
The traumatizing ones, I'll be honest with you. I would say there's probably 3 or 4 sports moments in my life I cannot watch back. I can't. That's how bad it hurt. It hurt so badly that I've never watched it again. And if it comes on like a highlight, I either walk away. If it comes on like a video or something, I scan past it. I just don't even look at it. I don't even look at it. Like, it hurts so badly that I can't even. That, to me, is sports fandom. Sports fandom is I can't even watch that back. I have never, to this day, I have never watched back the 2008 NCAA National Championship game where Memphis is up 9 with 2 minutes to go.
That was tough.
The Chalmers one, I've never watched it back.
That was tough.
The worst one of my whole life, I told you, so when I was growing up, me and my father had season tickets to the St. Louis Blues. And that's what we did together. Me and my dad went to the Blues games like that. He bought the tickets and then the season tickets every year, and we would go to the games. And my senior year of high school, it was the best team we ever had. And we traded for Wayne Gretzky. And it was all coming together. And it was the last year because I'm going off to college. We're never doing this again. We're never doing this. Me and my dad. Like, this is it. He's giving up the season tickets at the end of the year.
I
because
cry
I'm gone. Bro, Game 7, double overtime. Steve Yzerman, the Blues turn the puck over at mid-ice, and Steve Yzerman, who's a very famous
Red Wings?
Yes, winds up and takes a slap shot, and it goes over. Our backup goalie was John Casey. He was in because Grant Fuhr was hurt. Goes over his shoulder, ding, hits the back of the friggin' net, and I started bawling. I mean, I've never been more heartbroken
for me,
in my life.
Bill Buckner and Aaron Boone.
Wasn't even
Those are the
close.
two that got me. Bill Buckner and Aaron Boone.
And if it ever comes on like the screen or something, or like, I can't watch it. I mean, I could watch it now, but I don't want to see it. It just brings
I don't think last night was that dramatic, honestly.
It will be. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It will be if in 2012, you can go back, and one of the worst losses in NBA history in the playoffs is a Game 1 Grizzlies-Clippers in 2012. And the Grizzlies were up by over 20 in the fourth quarter.
I live in LA at that point, so that's like Lob City, early Blake Griffin.
It was the biggest. It was the biggest comeback at the time in a quarter in NBA playoff history. It was over 20. And it was a Game 1 just like this, like last night. And they ended up losing a Game 7 to the Clippers. All right. That year, in that same series, I don't remember anything from the series. Nothing. It was that, like, the first game is the one I remember. I remember the blown lead, and I remember Game 7 being at like because it was like a one of these like noon Sunday games, so everything was weird about it, and they lost, and it was the worst, and whatever. But the rest of that series, I couldn't tell you one thing that happened in that series. Like, you only remember. So what I'll tell you is, if the Knicks go on to win, all's fine. If they go on to lose, you won't even remember the other games.
But
it's all going to be about Game 1.
But let me make my case, okay? What is just objectively about sports? We like rivalries. We like passion. We like emotion. We like memorable moments, and we like villains. And last night had all of that in spades.
Oh, that's true.
All of it in
I'll
spades.
give you that.
And like this team, like they were talking about like the Knicks and the Celtics being rivals. I'm like, I can't even remember another Knicks and Celtics postseason series. But it seems like the Pacers and the Knicks have played 9 times in the last 20 years, ending each other's seasons. Back and forth. Eastern Conference Finals, first round, second round. Last year, getting hurt. And Haliburton showing up to the game in Tim's and then doing the choke thing and pointing at Reggie fucking Miller, who's there. And then you're sitting there at the bar thinking the game's over. Everyone's got their head in their hands. And then the fans, he runs over to the fans, and the fans are holding up 2 fingers because you couldn't really see on the broadcast. And you're like, oh, what is it, a 2-point shot? And then it becomes a 2-point shot.
Did you see the mic'd up thing? He was mic'd up.
Yeah.
And where he said on the bench, I can't believe I didn't get behind the line.
It's ridiculous. And then the Knicks run out in overtime.
I know.
Up by 4. And Brunson has this layup. And I honestly, like,
that was
the
replay,
a
goaltend.
It looked like a goaltend on the replay, but like
to
the naked eye in real time, it looks like just like someone pinned it against the backboard.
But
I probably wouldn't have called it if I was the ref.
No, you
and
have
then
to.
Nembhard hits a 3. So it is like it's like a scoring play in football. See, that's the thing. Is like you should be able to review this. It's like a scoring play in football. They'll just give you the touchdown because they know they're going to review it.
No,
they'll give you the touchdown.
That's right. They have to call it. They have to call the goaltend. It's better to err on that side.
It immediately turns into a Nembhard 3 from the right corner. Immediately.
Of course it does. It's all the guy does.
It's a 5-point turnaround. They could have been up 6. I mean, I think there's still like 4 minutes to go or whatever, but they could have been up 6, and then they're down. There are at least 20 moments from the fourth quarter and overtime of that game that I've rewatched 3 times and obsessed over. Obsessed over. So many moments. Like the Josh Hart just losing Nembhard on a back cut and Haliburton giving him that pass. I'm like, you're giving up an open layup in the end of the game?
Do you think, all right,
here?
Let me ask you a couple of these things. Do you think that it was, how big of a factor do you think it is that Indiana is just relentless, go, 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 and there was a level of fatigue that set in, and that's why all this attention to detail and late closeouts and laziness on defense showed up at the worst possible time against a guy who got pistol hot?
I will also say that I think fatigue was a factor, especially for Jalen Brunson, which is so shocking because he got 5 fouls on a dumb foul against McConnell, and he sat out. He was actually sat more in this game than is normally his rotation, which is why it was surprising he seemed so fatigued. Like, remember that when he just dribbles it? It was Siakam actually blew the transition layup, but he just like gave the ball to the other team on one possession, and then another possession he dribbles it off his foot. It turns into a jump ball. I think it was between Hart and Siakam. Like, he was just uncharacteristically sloppy poppy at the end of that game.
Well, and I do wonder if he would have even forget the 5 fouls, because I think Tibbs would probably even play him with 5 fouls. The Deuce Mitchell minutes were so good. Like, they were cracking until he came back in the game. Like, not only that
was them fouling 3-point shooters, though, to be honest with you. It's not like Deuce was like creating offensive possessions and like, a wizard out there.
But the whole thing is just hold down the fort. And not only did they hold down the fort, they extended the lead.
They created the lead. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, it was a 1-point game.
Yeah.
And then Brunson picks up that foul. They open it all up. And there's just so many plays that I look back on. I can't believe it happened the way it happened. Like, I actually don't blame. I've listened to some stuff today and read a bunch of stuff today just to like digest the game. I don't think the defense was that bad. I just think Nesmith just got white hot, man. He was like 8 for 9 from 3. Like, who's 8 for 9 from 3 in the NBA? Like, who is?
No,
who is?
I actually was talking to my buddy today, and here's what I said to him. I said, if I'm the Knicks, I said, here's what I'm guessing. I think a young team could get super duper discouraged by that. I think that a group of vets, like there's a bunch of vets in that locker room, they say and totally believe that was like a 1 in a million thing.
It was.
That will never happen again. And it's like, we had them, and next time we're going to close the deal. That was bullshit. I mean, what are the chances this guy, like, okay, fine. If you're right, if Aaron Nesmith makes every shot he takes, and if we miss, if we're splitting free throws, like it, honestly, like a million things had to go wrong. Now, on the other side, you've got this weird Indiana team that is like, yeah, everybody keep being surprised that we do this, but this is just like what we do.
Round.
This is what we do. Like, how many times this Indiana Pacers team has put an absolute beatdown on Elias Sports Bureau stats. They're like
a win probability.
Teams,
like, yeah, I'm not.
You remember? I found one. I'd have to grab my notebook. I found one that we did on. It was like May 5th. I can't remember what game it was. And it was
going to be the Bucks game.
Okay, whatever.
The Bucks game when they came back from 7 down with like 20 seconds left.
Okay, and it was that teams that were down 7 with less than 90 seconds to go. So that's 7 with 90 seconds to go, okay? Were 1 and 384. And the one was a Oklahoma City game against the Clippers like 12, 13 years ago, okay? 1 and 384. And then we got to the next round and they did it again. So it was 3 and 384 and or whatever the number was. I was like, come on, dude.
A couple things need to be said about the game. I just loved it, honestly. Even though we took an L, last night I was in a really rough spot. Even this morning, but the more distance I get from it, the more I loved the game and the experience. The ball bounced off the back of the rim, and I was celebrating. It disappeared from the television screen, and then it falls in, and then you think that the game's over, and then it's not, and they go to overtime, and then I think a lot of people are forgetting this part. The end of overtime, the Knicks are down 3. Brunson, again, fatigue is a factor, shoots a fucking air ball. And Josh Hart gets it, kicks it out to Karl Anthony Towns. He might be a step behind the 3-point line, but that's like Karl Anthony Towns' zone. Like, that's his shot. They're down 3, and he's got a butt-naked look at a 3 from his spot, and he barely grazes the front rim. I was shocked that ball didn't go in the hoop. Shocked. I was shocked.
I was shocked at the Brunson air ball. Bro, that was Westbrookian.
It was, it was that? Contested. It was contested.
What was it? Come on, what was that? That was terrible.
It was contested.
Bro, hit something.
I thought he was dramatically fatigued at the end of that game, which is weird because he didn't play for half of the fourth quarter.
He did play. I mean, he was getting buckets in overtime.
Oh, the right-handed layup I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
That right-handed layup that he hit. Like, that's another thing is those Celtics games, there's a bit of like, the Knicks kind of deserve this karmically because of those Celtics comebacks, but those were more Celtics collapses. I felt this was more like the Pacers just hitting shots because the Knicks were scoring at the end of the game.
This is what the Pacers do, though.
It's wild.
Wild. I have goofed about in the past when there's these teams that pull crap off like this. I always used to, you remember when we were little kids and the team would win the title, and at the end they would say, here's the Sports Illustrated DVD. If you ordered your subscription to Sports Illustrated, you would get like the New York Giants.
Extra for that. You had to pay extra for that one.
The DVD or whatever. And these DVDs would always have these moments from the season that like led to this moment. And I'm like, bro, they are putting together, like, if that is a karma thing, like, their DVD is the best. I mean, just the best.
This is the second time Haliburton has dribbled backwards to get behind the 3-point line and shoot a shot at the end of the game.
They've done it in 3 consecutive rounds. Like, these unheard of victories.
Once in a lifetime comebacks against all odds seem to happen every 2 weeks for this team. It makes me so angry.
I know. And they really need, they need to do some kind of cardiac something or something play off of that.
Yes, sirs is not working for me at all. Who even came up with that?
It's so lame.
Yes, sirs?
Lame.
Yes, with an apostrophe there?
It's lame.
Here's something
I'm against it.
Here's a thought that I had that you're going to disagree with.
Oh.
One of many. So my buddies, game's over. Just everyone's just can't get their check fast enough to get out of this bar, right? Wings be damned, nachos, just leave them on the table. Everyone's just trying to get out of the bar as soon as possible. And my buddy says to me, game 2 is a must win. And I was like, you know what? Not really.
Yes, it is.
I was like, not really.
It's 100%. Honestly, yes, it is.
Honestly, I could just see. I think this is going to be a weird enough series. Now, it's such a weird game that I could see the Knicks losing game 2 and still winning the series. I could.
I am going to, let's see. I'm going to tell you, what do you think has the lowest odds right now?
As a finals matchup?
No. In Pacers Knicks. I just pulled it up on FanDuel. What do you think is the most likely, according to the odds? Again,
Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7 is actually the second most likely. It is plus 340.
Knicks in 6.
So Pacers in 6 is the most likely.
Yes,
it
chance.
Is. Yes, it is. They are favored. Hey, look, they are favored in the series now, Jacoby. So don't tell me. Yes, they are. They're minus 154.
154?
They just stole game 1.
But all right, a couple things just strategically about the game. I felt like the same thing in the Celtics. Who can cover Cat?
I mean, it was funny as hell at the beginning where it was like, are we going to get a Cat Miles Turner 3-point contest? This is going to be awesome. That game was so awesome. Do you know that thing lasted over 3 hours? And at one point I tweeted, I never want this to end. I would have watched that game for 7 hours.
So don't get mad at me when I say it was a great experience and it was why we like sports.
But
that was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life.
But if you're a Knicks fan, that's the worst thing ever.
I'm a basketball fan first. I like basketball. I like hating Haliburton. I like Haliburton. I like the rivalry. I like that I want them to play next year.
He's winning you over.
I like all of this stuff. It's fun.
You hate Haliburton.
It's fun.
What are you talking about? You literally said it on the last show. You hate him.
I like hating him. I like hating him. I do. I love the choke. The point at Reggie and the choke. You know what really pissed me off, though? Spike Lee wasn't there. Come on, Spike.
He wasn't?
I think he was in Cannes Film Festival, dude.
Oh, that cannot
happen.
Come
on, Spike.
No way.
People blame Brunson. They blame Tibbs. Blame Spike. Come on, Spike.
Tibbs was stupid with that challenge. Stupid.
I mean,
because it came to roost, and Carlisle, unbelievable use of 2 challenges that swung the game. Truly.
Well, they were pretty obvious. The second the ball went off of Brunson, everybody that I was with was like, "That's off Brunson."
But he had him at his disposal.
I don't understand. You should not be allowed to use a challenge in the first half. It should just be illegal.
Burned his on, and then there was a nothing anyway.
And who's the guy? Because I always feel bad for the replay guy. The one guy who's got the iPad who's in charge of the decision. I always feel so bad for him. It's got to be so difficult.
It's the only thing.
That guy needs therapy on every 30 of those people, men and women in the league. They need all the therapy and Xanax in the world because that's got to be the hardest job. And then have 20,000 people being like, "What are we going to do here?" And you're like, "I don't know, man. It's close."
The other thing is, I will say you're totally under the gun because somehow the iPad guy behind the bench, he gets about 5 seconds to make his decision, and then the refs take 10 minutes. It's like tonight we're watching that game. And I'm like, bro, do we really need friggin' 10 minutes to find out? We all just watched Jaden McDaniels push this dude with 2 arms
to the floor.
Why do I need to watch the replay?
He himself was like, give me the flagrant. Let's move on with this. I flagrantly pushed him. That was my point. I intentionally, flagrantly pushed him because I'm mad. But so now, what are we talking about?
Yeah, now go review this.
Or they're like,
minutes.
They want to find out how much time is left on the shot clock. Oh, it doesn't take an extra 4 minutes to figure out how much time is left.
The funniest is when we all were privy to reviews of Scott Foster's busted nose for 5 minutes at the very beginning of the game. It's like, hey, we have waited until the game is supposed to start at 7:30, but we got to do this Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thing, and we got to do this thing. So now the game's going to tip off at 7:47, and now we play 1 minute and 10 seconds, and then for 10 minutes, we're looking at friggin' Scott Foster bleed out, and it's like, oh my God.
Jalen Brunson loses a leg, goes to the back, and he's back in 90 seconds. John Morant against the Warriors, it looks like he's out for 2 years, comes back in 30 seconds. Anthony Edwards, game 1, comes back and dunks. But Scott Foster, we got to slow everything down for 20 minutes because he's got a boo-boo.
Yeah, they got to, and we've got to watch Lou Dort, pop him in the nose 25 times. And
Listen, Richard Jefferson, God bless him. I love that guy. But he's like, that was actually a good toss. It was we're analyzing the toss on the jump.
Shut up.
It's just like, we're just trying to fill time. No. I actually love Richard Jefferson. I've sat around that guy in the office. He's hilarious. He's like one of the best people on the planet. He's just filling time. But we don't need to break down the referee's toss on a jump ball.
We didn't have
That's not what we need to do.
Because there was no basketball that had been played so far. It's okay, now here, let's go. Let's break down them sticking this tampon in his nose. He's going to run around like he's got a friggin' tampon string out of his nose while he's going to ref the game. And they're like, and the backup referee's back there. We might need to call. I'm like, oh my God.
Who wins the Knicks series? It's got to be the Knicks. You know it's the Knicks. It's the Knicks. Again, they don't have an answer for Cat.
Here's what I'm telling you, Jacoby. It's must win. I do think they will win.
I don't think it's a must win. I honestly don't.
All right, I'm going to tell you the same thing as when I started this show. The Knicks can absolutely go 4-2 against that team the rest of the way, and I expect them to. Okay? That's what I'll tell you. Okay?
I don't even think it'll get there.
They're not winning 4 out of 5.
I think so.
No, they're not.
That's a pretty dominant game.
No, they're not winning 4 out of 5 where they haven't even played a game in Indiana yet. Stop. I'm saying they have to win the next game is what I'm saying. If they don't win the next game, they would have to win 4 out of the next 5 games, and that's not happening. That's not happening. So it is a must win. It is a must win if the Knicks are going to win the series.
You have to agree with this. After last night, nothing is off the table. Right? Nothing is off the table after last night. Nothing.
Nothing
is off the table.
It goes 7 games.
I want it to be back in the Garden. Do you know? Here's one thing I want to say about.
And
the
look,
city today.
I think we would be very fortunate if. It is hard to see West going to 6. We would be very fortunate to even get to 6.
It does feel like the Thunder might have some waiting 5. To do. It feels like the Thunder are going to have some waiting to do.
It does. That's how that one feels. So
here's one thing I want to say.
So we need 7 out of the East.
Here's a unique perspective that I can offer.
Okay.
This is New York City. It's just a melting pot. You take the train. You just see a lot of people. Like when you live in other cities, you get in your car, you drive to your office. You don't sort of like look into the faces of as many people as you do when you live here because you're walking the streets. You're on the train. Anyone listening to this podcast knows New York City is this sort of like melting pot where you interact, not necessarily verbally, but visually with just thousands of people every day. And one thing that's been so fun about this Knicks run is the amount of enthusiasm and Knicks gear that you see on people. The Knicks logo in the last month, I've seen more than I've seen since 99. None today. None. I started noticing right around noon, because I had to do some
then you
stuff.
have to talk
take my
about
kids' play. I had to take my kids' places and whatnot. So like, I've seen so many Knicks hats, Knicks shirts, Knicks stuff. No one was wearing the Knicks logo today. Nobody.
Because then you have to talk about
Nobody. But it was like,
that's why.
It
Because then your conversation becomes, trust me, every time I wear sports gear, your conversation becomes about that team. And today is the last day on earth you want to have that conversation if you're actually a Knicks fan.
But as someone who isn't actually a Knicks fan, but does believe in the Knicks winning this series, I feel strongly about the Knicks winning this series. I really do.
That's because you've been down in the Pacers for the whole playoffs. You don't like the Pacers.
I don't like the Pacers.
You don't respect them.
I don't respect the Pacers.
I know you don't.
I don't at all.
I know, but that's why. It's not because you actually think like you want that to be so.
I've been surprised.
That Joker hit the friggin' choke sign on MSG in game one.
And that game was
that
over.
Was crazy.
That game was over.
So crazy.
And I mean, I'm sure people listening to this podcast probably know, but he wore Reggie Miller on a T-shirt doing the choke sign after Game 7 last year.
That's right.
Like this was a moment building, and I was shocked that was a 2-point shot. I thought that was a 3. Didn't you?
Yes.
I thought he missed it. Didn't you think he missed it when it hit the back rim?
I didn't know.
It disappeared.
I couldn't believe that he backtracked like that. I mean, who drives and then turns around, turns
his back.
And I don't want to hear about the double dribble thing. I saw the clip.
I saw the clip.
Cam.
Yeah, I saw the clip.
I don't know, and it was in fast motion.
In the moment. It's the same thing with the goaltend.
When we have to phantom cam it.
Yeah, it's got 120 frames per second to like see if it was a double dribble. I feel the same way about the goaltend. On the replay, it looked like a goaltend, but in the moment, that looked like a block shot to me. In the moment. Fair. If I was a referee, I would not have blown the whistle.
That's fair.
I would not have blown the whistle in the moment. And it's also like there's so many things that happen. And like it's like the idea that like Obi Toppin is in the game instead of Turner, and he gets that putback dunk, and he gets that other dunk where Bridges obviously fouled him. That's a huge point right there. They missed that call.
I think after a couple of things. Number one, I don't think they could win 4 out of 5, so that's why I think 2 is a must win for the Knicks. And the other thing is after a loss like that, I think
first quarter.
It's absolutely essential that you lay the wood to the other team.
First quarter.
Whereas, and that's why I say, and then if we're just wrapping this up on that first series, and I started this by talking about how impressed I was with Oklahoma City. You don't have to win 2 because obviously you're going to be a big underdog as they were, but you got to compete in a way that makes it feel like, okay, you're on to something. And you at least now, right? Mm-hmm. You can turn the corner when you get back home. That's why I didn't feel good about the Wolves after night, because they were searching by the fourth quarter, and they're down 24 going into the fourth. Bro, you're not making like this is supposed to be going the other. If you get busted up in game 1, then the way this goes is I make all of my adjustments to make it easier on me. And now I'm competing with you in game 2. And now we'll figure out, I've got something that gives you big problems. But when you get your ass kicked again, it's like, oh, buddy.
I talked about the Thunder locker room earlier. Like, everybody feels good in the Thunder locker room tonight. In the Wolves locker room, Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Dante.
Gobert.
Like, but I would say that the Pacers and the Knicks both have something that they can feel good about going into game 2.
I agree with you.
Both, I mean, like Brunson, I'm blaming Brunson for being fatigued and tired and these turnovers. He had 43 points.
He had 43.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, we needed some more out of Brunson. The guy had 43 points. He's like 5'8". Like, what do you want from the guy?
Well, here's the thing. You can't play these all-star games with the Pacers. You can't. That's their dwelling. That's where that whole, like, I was born in the dark. You adopted it. Like, that's what that is. You got the third quarter when the Knicks started, and then really the fourth, when they start, it's because, I mean, they're getting stops, and the thing started to slow down a little bit, and they go on a good little spell where they're without a field goal, and it's like, bro,
and the free throws.
Don't do this no defense track meet thing with them.
And the free throws just slowing the game down, just mucking it up and slowing the game down. And like when they made that run, it was because they got fouled from shooting threes. But it's like the more free throws, the more slow, the more reviews, the more just like gross the game is, the better it is for the Knicks. And absolutely. I'm more than happy to win gross basketball games.
Right. But don't play in these 130s and 120s games. I mean, that's what they want. That's what they want. They want the score to be 154 to 152. And the Knicks get duped into it. They did last year during the playoffs too, where it's like, you know what? This is kind of fun. Let's just run up and down and score. And you know what I mean? This is a lot more fun than Tibbs ball.
I mean, I'm just glad the real Julius Randle finally stood up. I did get off the take, but that's the Julius Randle that I know and was happy to trade to the Wolves. Dude. And I honestly thought when the Wolves traded for him, they were like, this guy will be fun for a year. You know what I mean? Honestly, they're like salary dump. We'll take him for a year, see what happens. Are you let's not bury the Wolves yet, but like no, but they signing him?
The spacing thing is the killer. That's why I was one that never liked it because I thought if you're moving somebody, move Gobert. I thought Towns was a perfect pairing with Ant. Number one, Ant oddly loved the guy. Yeah. And the Wolves fans liked him. And then more importantly, he's a stretch 5. Like,
but he's not.
But it's when you have a guy like Anthony Edwards, you're trying to create the maximum amount of space that I can for this guy.
Of course.
And it's like all Gobert does is get in the way.
And Randle operates from the left block. So that's not helping you either.
And it doesn't show up until now with a team that can really defend like Oklahoma City.
The best defense in the league.
Right. Because as we've said, when you have a good opponent on the other side, your flaws can be exposed tenfold. And so tonight was one of those nights where it's like, bro, all of their flaws were exposed tenfold.
I will say, and we'll wrap soon, is I expect Karl-Anthony Towns to really, really dominate game 2. I just think he can hit his threes and he can use that closeout and get past his man and drive to the basket, and he can post up. He's like a 3-level scorer.
I wouldn't be surprised if Carlisle runs some doubles at him to try to get him off. But just try to get him.
Turner can't stop him. Yeah. Siakam can't stop him.
Yeah,
who are you going to throw at him?
Just to try to get him off of his, and then I live with the result of the other. But what we're not going to do is have him and Brunson simultaneously busting us up.
I'm watching the game. I'm like, is that Ben Shepherd from last year? Because I haven't seen him since last year. Ben Shepherd was playing in like crunch time. I was shocked. And Tibbs put Wright in the game.
You like that mustache?
DeLon Wright was in the game. I'm like, do you see him checking the game? He had like his warm-ups on. He wasn't even like ready. He had to like take off all of his warm-ups. He's like, wait, me in the game, Tibbs?
For what?
I haven't played since like March 3rd. What are we talking about? I'm excited.
This is fun though. This is fun.
So what do we get? We get 2 games. We'll be after. When do we record again? Monday night.
Monday night.
That'll be after. Let me look at the schedule real quick. I know it's always great audio podcast listening.
I wonder if we will. I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, so it'll be Monday night. That's going to be Thunder Wolves game 4.
Well, that's guaranteed.
Yeah, and there'll be game 3 Sunday. So we're doing every other.
Huh?
Just say it. Say what you're about to say.
What?
Say what you're about to say about the Oklahoma City fetuses, quote unquote.
They were awesome. They were amazing.
So what about the battle scars and all the playoff scars and the whole thing you've been saying all year long, how veteran teams win the championship and veteran teams and blah, blah, blah.
Have they won the title yet? They put I didn't see it. So I just saw the pregame ceremony. The Shai Gilgeous thing. Did they give him the Larry O'Brien after it?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I missed. Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. I mean, I turned off my TV because we were going to record.
I'll give you plenty of opportunity to back away from that take too. I'll give you plenty of opportunity to back away from that take.
We recorded right after the game ended. So forgive me. I didn't realize they gave him the Larry O'Brien trophy after that game. After game 2 of the West Finals, they did? Wow, they're not even going to make them win the last 6, huh?
They did not. But you did start the show by saying, this is the most impressed I've been by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
They were great.
They really were, dude.
When you got 3, vet players all sitting on the bench, a coach searching for everything, and in a game 2, they bust your ass even worse. Because I know the margin wasn't as bad, but it was.
If you get that
they're down
game from
24
J-Dub,
going into the fourth.
Chet wasn't he didn't blow me away the way that you felt he did, but he's scoring and he had a nice
he
little
was dunking
post
on
up
people
on
and telling
Nas
them they were
Reed.
little bitches.
The
what are you talking about?
Yeah, it was you got everything you needed from Chet. He hit a 3. He got everything you needed from Chet.
Bro, he got a tech for telling Dante DiVincenzo get the F out of his way, and Nas Reed was like, I don't know. I mean,
we'll see. We could be this. I think
if
the
he's
next
dunking on everybody at bargain,
the next mismatch is going to be a very different tone.
You think so? You think Minnesota's going to bounce back?
No.
Oh, you did say that. You were like, this series isn't over. That's what you were saying earlier.
I'm not saying it's not over. No, I was more thinking about the Knicks Pacers. I think the Knicks will be up 2-1 by the time we talk again.
Either way, we're talking on Monday night. Thank you to our executive producer, Jesse Lopez, as always. Thanks to our man, Tucker and Jacoby. I'll talk to you next week.
Must be 21 and over and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.